Starry-eyed rumblings.
Helix Bane tries the basics, trying to force the door open. It doesn't work. The effort almost costs her place in this reality, but she manages to stay put, with the only side effect being that her head feels like it's about to split open. While Helix Bane recovers, Bay examines the door and begins to think out loud. Now then, the zealots of old religion. They all had one thing in common. All of them wanted forgiveness for one sin or another. Ask for forgiveness, sin again. Ask for forgiveness, sin again. In a rather convenient cycle. Bay shrugs, then places her forehead against the door and whispers, "Forgive me, for I have sinned, and now I seek penance. Your forgiveness will be great. Okay, thanks, bye." Mocking as the prayer was, the door opens to reveal a long, dark tunnel. And here I was thinking that the tunnel to heaven would be full of bright, shining white light. Bay walks in, and Helix Bane and her headache thank the Lord for the darkness and follow after her. Fortunately for the two of them, the tunnel is straight as an arrow. And fortunately for Helix Bane's subsiding headache, what they find at the end of the tunnel is a chasm filled with abyssal darkness. As far as their slow and tentative investigations can make out, the room is a large dome shape with no light, ornaments, decor, switches, or anything else beyond a darkness that Helix Bane's eyes can barely see through. And a black chasm below, in the center of the room, that our eyes cannot penetrate at all. They both stick close to the wall, feeling their way along. It's hard to explore a room while not leaving the side wall, but Bay seems to have found her stride and proves useful for a second time as she calls out from up ahead. "Oh, look what I found. There is a staircase here, leading down into the abyssal darkness." This time, Bay doesn't stroll ahead. Instead, waits patiently for Helix Bane to arrive and go first. Helix Bane does, dragging her feet across the flat step, then down the side of the step till she finds solid, flat ground once more. Repeating this over and over again, they slip and stagger their way down into the dark abyss. It is mentally as well as physically draining. The steps are uneven, and being in constant anticipation of a turn or a curve in the staircase keeps the whole body tense. Often, they only have a centimeter or two of step to help support them so that they can navigate the rest of their body down the step. Other times, they are practically rock climbing down the side of steps that seem made for giants. Muscles begin to strain and tremble, and more frequently, her legs begin to shake, feeling as if they are almost about to give way with fatigue. That could send her falling 1 meter to a step she could not see below, or 20 meters to a step she can't see. They emerge out of the ceiling. That is to say, Helix Bane steps down onto a step and finds herself out of the darkness. Vision returned, and at the top of another large chamber. Oh yeah, now this is definitely more what I imagined heaven to be like. Bay remarks as Helix Bane looks down the stairs to the bottom of the unadorned and plain chamber. At the bottom, roughly in the center, skeletons. Skeletons piled high atop each other, reaching half the height of the extraordinarily large chamber. Is it me, or either all these skeletons, before they were skeletons, were having a big game of pylon? Or are they in a supplicating position? That's a hat trick of usefulness, Helix Bane realizes, as Bay is indeed right. The skeletons are all on their knees, or sprawled across each other as if they have thrown themselves in rapture, arms outstretched, piled one atop the other, in a pile so very high. Besides this bony mound, there is nothing else in the room, so there is nothing else but the mound to investigate, as far as Helix Bane can see. Her investigations begin by casting aside the bones. Slowly and carefully at first, then more and more recklessly. Bones are just like any other material used as supports. Wood for boats, stone for houses, metal for spaceships, and bone for human flesh. Something about the way the skeletons have thrown themselves atop each other reminds Helix Bane all too well of how she'd seen a mother cast herself over her child when she'd gone to make an arrest. The mother had used her whole body as if she could wrap herself around the child as an impenetrable shield. It hadn't worked then, and it wasn't working now for the skeletons. Eventually, Helix Bane has to begin to start tunneling down and towards the center of the bone mound, snapping femurs and cracking skulls to dig a way through. She has to pause often to rest, and she has to pause even more often to refocus her mind to stay in this reality. Some routes she finds too thickly packed with skeletons to find a way through, and alternate routes have to be found. But eventually, she makes it to the center, and she sees something. A data sphere glowing just out of reach through a ribcage. Helix Bane breaks off the ribs and grabs hold of the sphere. Getting back is just as laborious. Some passages have caved in, others looking too jagged to traverse after her rampage in. But once again, she makes it out, not unscathed. Each movement she now makes seems to stretch a cut open wider. It takes all her remaining focus to remain in this reality. Bay comes over, ignoring the wounds, and holds out her hand. It doesn't take Helix Bane long to figure out why the smirk is back on Bay's face. Helix Bane has the data. But how can she get it out of here? How can she transfer the data? That is where Bay's outstretched hand and her ability to remember anything she sees comes to save the day. And they both know it. Helix Bane hands over the sphere. Bay turns away and a short while later returns, handing the sphere back. The data sphere seems like a suitably obvious and solid source for the data, so Helix Bane starts making her way back to the exit point. Heading back up the staircase is much quicker than coming down was, but it is still slow and hard going. Encountering no other hardships, Helix Bane explains the exit point to Bay, and as they arrive, Bay doesn't hesitate and grabs hold of the bulbous hands reaching from the ceiling and is gone. Helix Bane lingers for just a moment longer, looking at the data sphere still in her hand. If she destroys it, then it is gone for good. No one else, not the Worthy Foundation, nor anyone else, can get hold of it. If she tries to hold on to it as she exits, she has no idea what will happen. She casts it on the ground and smashes it with her foot. Then she too grabs hold of a pair of bulbous hands protruding from the ceiling and is gone from this reality. As Helix Bane returns to her body in the spire, she feels that's quite enough for one day. But in their current pocket of the forge, illuminated only by a distant and dim quark star, day's end is hard to define.